Most people don't question their habits. They assume that if something feels normal, it must be normal. But psychologists say that some of the most common everyday behaviors aren't as ordinary as they seem. Not because they're wrong, not because they're unhealthy, but because they quietly reveal how a person's mind actually works. If you've ever done something and thought, does everyone do this or just me? These 5 normal habits may explain more than you think. Let's start with one almost nobody talks about. You need time alone after social interaction. You enjoy people, you can be social, even the life of the party. But afterward, you feel this profound mental drain, like a battery that's been completely depleted. Psychologists don't see this as a social weakness. They link it to deep cognitive processing. During a conversation, your mind isn't just participating, it's a detective, subconsciously analyzing tone, intention, hidden meanings, and the subtle emotional shifts in the room. It's an intense, full brain activity. So when the interaction ends, your brain needs silence. It needs a quiet space to sort through the massive amount of data it just collected. To others, this looks like simple introversion. In reality, it's mental intensity. And that same depth shows up in another subtle way. You replay conversations in your head. Long after you've said goodbye, your mind keeps the dialogue going. You analyze what was meant, what wasn't said, that one comment that felt slightly off. Psychologists associate this habit with pattern-oriented thinking. Your brain doesn't store interactions as simple memories. It stores them as data points in a much larger puzzle. You're not obsessing or stuck in the past. You're searching for understanding. You're reverse engineering this social code, trying to see the blueprint behind the words. That intense mind that needs to recharge doesn't just switch off. It moves from data collection to data analysis. If that feels familiar, this next habit will likely resonate. You struggle with small talk, but you thrive in deep conversations. Casual talk about the weather or weekend plans feels draining, like static on a radio. The meaningless exchanges feel empty, a waste of that precious mental energy. But give you a thoughtful discussion about an idea, a passion, or a complex problem, and suddenly you're fully present, energized, and alive. Psychologists say this reflects concept-driven cognition. Your mind isn't wired for noise. It's wired for meaning. It's not about avoiding people. It's about seeking connection on a different frequency. This doesn't make you antisocial. It means your attention has standards. This search for meaning extends beyond just conversation. Consider a 4th habit, keeping layered, messy notes. To an outsider, it looks disorganized, chaotic even. But psychologists see an external brain, a structure designed not for neatness, but for connecting disparate ideas, for fostering creative leaps that a linear system could never produce. And finally, number 5, you talk through ideas to yourself. Not out of loneliness, but out of necessity. It's a way to organize, to process, to debate a concept with the one person who truly gets it. It's the audible hum of an analytical mind at work. These habits aren't separate quirks. They are the fingerprints of a complex mind. They're signs that you're not just passively experiencing the world. You are actively, intensely trying to understand it. So the next time you retreat to recharge or find yourself lost in the replay of a conversation, remember, it's not weird. It's the way your mind is wired. And that's not just normal. It's remarkable. Most people don't question their habits. We assume that if something feels normal, it must be normal. But psychologists say that some of the most common, everyday behaviors aren't as ordinary as they seem. Not because they're wrong or unhealthy, but because they quietly reveal the intricate blueprint of a person's mind. If you've ever done something and had that quiet thought, does everyone do this or is it just me? These next few minutes may hold an answer. Let's start with a feeling almost nobody talks about that so many people know. You need time alone after social interaction. You enjoy people. You can be charming, engaged, and present. But afterward, you feel depleted, mentally drained, like you've just run a marathon you didn't even know you were in. Psychologists don't see this as a social weakness. They see it as evidence of deep cognitive processing. While you're in a conversation, your mind isn't just passively listening. It's actively decoding. It's analyzing tone, reading between the lines, tracking emotional shifts, and processing layers of meaning, often completely subconsciously. It's a high-level cognitive task. So, when the interaction finally ends, your brain doesn't just relax. It needs silence to recalibrate, to sort through all the data it just absorbed. What looks like simple introversion to the outside world is actually a sign of profound mental intensity. And that intensity doesn't just switch off when you leave the room. It shows up in another subtle, powerful way. You replay conversations in your head. Long after discussion has ended, your mind is still there, turning over phrases, wondering what was really meant by a particular look, what wasn't said, or what felt just slightly off. This isn't you being stuck in the past or overthinking things for no reason. Psychologists connect this directly to pattern-oriented thinking. Your brain doesn't just store interactions as simple memories. It stores them as data points. You're not obsessing, you're searching. Your mind is running a diagnostic, looking for the underlying patterns in human connection, trying to build a more accurate model of the world and the people in it. It's a relentless search for a deeper understanding. If that search feels familiar, this last habit might not surprise you at all. You struggle with small talk, but you thrive in deep conversations. Casual chatter about the weather or weekend plans can feel utterly draining, pointless, like listening to static. The meaningless exchanges feel empty, leaving you feeling disconnected, even in a room full of people. But then, someone asks a question that matters. Someone presents a complex idea, a moral dilemma, a passionate theory, and suddenly, you're alive. You're fully present, energized, and engaged. Psychologists say this reflects a mind built on concept-driven cognition. Your brain isn't wired for noise, it's wired for ideas. It doesn't crave repetition, it craves meaning. This doesn't make you antisocial, not even close. It simply means your attention has standards. So the next time you find yourself needing that quiet moment to recharge, or your mind is replaying a scene to understand it better, or you sidestep the empty chatter for something real, don't see it as a quirk. See it for what it is. It's the signature of a mind that isn't just skimming the surface of life, but is built to understand it.